Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into
You
it.
need a clutch. No, even just received VU drivers. But not all car owners, even with considerable driving experience, realize that this unit, despite its reliability, cannot be eternal. And its malfunctions can grow into a very serious problem. So it is necessary to know the enemy in the face. But to be able to determine the causes of problems in the clutch is not enough. You also need to be able to correct them. How the clutch works. This node is responsible for the transfer of torque from the engine to the gearbox. If it were not necessary to periodically disconnect these units, the clutch would not be necessary. Note that this mechanism is present only on cars with a manual transmission. If the car is equipped with a robotized gearbox, it is also equipped with a clutch, but it is not controlled manually. This function is taken over by electronics. Vehicles with automatic transmission use a different principle of interaction with the engine. Simplified clutch can be represented as a mechanism consisting of the following units. Actuator, connecting the pedal to the clutch. Itself can be mechanical, with a cable, or hydraulic. In the case of a robotized box, the drive is actuated by an actuator, commands to which come from the control unit, the basket, consisting of a compression bearing and a pressure plate, driven disc, fork, damping springs, pedal. After the driver presses the pedal, the cable transmits force to the cylinder rods and then to the fork, which through the release bearing transmits mechanical force to the lobes of the pressure plate, and they, in turn, bend to the flywheel. As a result, the driven disc loses traction with the driving disc, and the engine begins to run idle, without load on the wheels. Symptoms of clutch malfunctions. As we have already noted, many drivers in the occurrence of problems with the clutch realize that the car began to behave strangely, but often get used to it without taking any active actions. As a result, a minor breakdown develops into a serious one, leading to a situation where the car becomes immobilized. If you know the main signs of clutch malfunction, you can avoid such risks by carrying out timely repairs yourself or by going to the nearest service station or service center. So, let's describe the main signs of possible clutch malfunctions and a specific node responsible for the wrong behavior. Incomplete disengagement of the clutch. Usually in such cases, the term "the car leads" is applied. This means that the driven disc is not fully disengaged from the drive shaft of the motor when the pedal is pressed. As a result, the car when starting from a place and when changing gears jerks sharply, although the pedal is depressed as smoothly as always. Causes of such a problem. Pedal-free travel is insufficient. The regulation size should be found in the documentation for a particular car brand. Adjustment of the drive is broken. Note that the solution to the problem will be different for mechanical and hydraulic drives. The driven disc is deformed. This usually happens when the face runout rating exceeds 0.5 millimeter, the disc lining is warped, and it is permanently pressed against the engine flywheel. The drive disc hub is jammed in the shaft splines. Such a malfunction most often occurs as a consequence of prolonged idling of the vehicle, especially in an open parking lot. As you can see, it is not always easy to determine the clutch failure even if there is a specific symptom, because there may be several reasons. Clutch slips. The obvious symptoms of such a clutch failure are as follows. When you press the gas pedal with the pedal released almost to the stop, the engine roars, but the output does not meet your expectations. In addition, there may be a burning smell coming from the engine compartment. Causes of such a problem. Pedal freewheel adjustment is out of adjustment. The friction lining of the driven disc is contaminated with oil. Most often, this scenario is characteristic of cars with high mileage, which can blow an oil seal, gasket. There are loose connections, because of which the lubricating fluid splashes under the bottom, getting on the friction lining. It is in such cases that the odor of burning oil may be present. Friction lining wear. Problems may be caused by a faulty actuator. If you look under the bottom of the car, asking an assistant to depress the clutch pedal, the rod of the working cylinder should move, pushing the fork. If it does not, the fault should be in the actuator. In cars with hydraulic drive, Such a malfunction occurs due to clogging of the compensation hole of the main cylinder. Read also, blinking light at idle speed of the engine when pressing the clutch pedal. Extraneous noises are heard if the pedal is released. The acoustic situation comes to normal. The nature of the sounds can be different and can manifest itself from a characteristic rustling to intermittent sounding with varying intensity of grinding. Possible causes: sprinkled release bearing due to backlash or due to lack of lubrication. The basket lobes or damping springs have deteriorated. The drive shaft bearing on the box is worn out. The clutch pedal squeaks when pressed and does not return. Try pulling it back with the toe of your shoe. If this does not help, the problem does not disappear. Probably the drive is jammed, or the release bearing has sprung a leak. Sometimes this is caused by the jamming of the pedal spring, most often due to prolonged idle time, or the rod of the master cylinder. The axle bushing in the place of pedal attachment can squeak. It is enough just to lubricate it. When pedal is pressed sharply, the clutch is disengaged, and if the clutch does not engage when smoothly pressing/releasing the pedal, such a symptom is characteristic of the hydraulic drive, then we can talk about the following causes. Leak tightness of the clutch. System line is broken. The fluid level in the system is below the permissible level. Main cylinder cuffs are worn out. Vehicle jerks when operating the clutch pedal. If the drive is serviceable, a possible cause of such behavior may be a weakening of the friction lining fastening. Fastening is carried out by rivets or their wear. The clutch pedal is pressed too softly in most cases. The cause of this phenomenon, the hydraulic line. It is treated by removing air from the system, pumping the system. Common causes of clutch failures. This mechanism has a rather solid resource, lying within 100 to 150,000 kilometers of mileage. With correct operation, the upper bar, depending on the specific model, is easily achievable. But the notorious human factor can cause premature appearance of clutch malfunctions. Here's what to watch out for: aggressive driving behavior. Do not abuse frequent sharp presses and equally sharp pedal throwing. With such actions, friction pads will not last long. Beware of constant driving under increased load, which is often the case with commercial vehicles. Premature damage is caused by improper towing. Inexperienced drivers often tow with the pedal half depressed. Do not tow a vehicle that weighs much more than your vehicle. Avoid the habit of driving with the clutch pedal half depressed unless absolutely necessary. What to do in case of faulty clutch? Even if you carefully monitor the condition of the car and manage to diagnose a clutch failure in time, it is not necessarily immediately go to the service center. The nature of the fault may be such that you can eliminate it yourself in a matter of minutes, saving a lot of money. Let's consider what can be done when specific problems occur. Let's group them by place of localization. Clutch basket. One of the symptoms of problems in the basket is extraneous noise when pressing the pedal. Check for wear of the basket pedals. If they are really badly worn, then we have found the culprit of unpleasant sounds, but it is too early to rejoice. Elastic plates are not subject to repair. The unit is changed entirely. Breakage or warping of the pressure plate spring is detected when performing an inspection of this unit. If the diagnosis is confirmed, the spring is replaced. The disc itself may be warped. Try cleaning it first. If this does not help, the entire basket must be replaced. Clutch disc. If the clutch slips, most likely, the cause should be sought in this unit. Check whether the driven disc is not deformed. If yes, then try to eliminate the cause of the increase in the amplitude of the end vibration, which should lie within 0.5 millimeters. If it does not help, change the disc for a new one. Check whether the disc hub is not jammed on the splines of the box shaft, which usually happens in the presence of misalignment. Try to clean the surface from dirt and apply lubricant LCC 15. If the problem has not disappeared, change the driven disc, but in the most unfavorable scenario we'll have to replace the primary shaft itself. If oil stains are visible on the disc, localize the leakage and eliminate the problem. Usually it is a blown oil seal. If worn friction lining on clutches of the old design can be replaced, only her. Otherwise replace the disc in the set. Read also, what to do if the cigarette lighter fuse burned out. Release bearing. If the bearing is worn out, it is indicated by a characteristic clanking sound coming from the gearbox when the pedal is depressed to the stop and the transmission lever is in neutral position. With the replacement of the bearing, do not delay, because after the bearing will fly and the basket, and its repair will cost you an order of magnitude more expensive. Clutch master cylinder. Diagnose the malfunction of this unit. Installed on machines with hydraulic drive, you can buy the appearance of slippage of the clutch. Check the condition of the cylinder. Most likely, the compensation hole is clogged. The problem is solved by washing it. You should also check whether the cylinder rod is functional. How to do this, we have already explained. If the problem is in it, dismantle the master cylinder and perform its revision, cleaning, flushing, lubrication, oil change. Clutch disengagement at a sharp pressure on the drive pedal also indicates a malfunction in the master cylinder. Repair of such a malfunction of the clutch master cylinder and the method of its elimination is as follows. If the fluid level in the hydraulic system is below the minimum permissible level, refill. If over time it falls again, there is a depressurization of the system. Look for the cause and eliminate it. The pressure drop may have occurred due to wear or damage of the cylinder mirror or working sleeve. The remedy is to replace these parts. Clutch pedal. Here, much depends on the type of drive, mechanical, hydraulic, electric drive. The variant with a soft pedal and hydraulics means, most likely, that there is an overinflated system. The way of elimination: pumping of clutch with replacement of fluid. The situation is repeated. Look for a place of depressurization, eliminate the problem, and perform pumping again. If the drive is mechanical, it is necessary to pay attention to the fork, which is put on the joint. Perhaps it is simply frayed. The main methods of eliminating this malfunction of the clutch: welding the missing metal, adjustment, or replacement. Malfunctions of the sensor, an element of the clutch, controlled by electronics. Its task is to inform the block about the position of the pedal. The control unit, based on the received data, not only from the clutch sensor, gives commands to the actuators, adjusting such parameters as the number of engine revolutions and the ignition advance angle in order to create optimal conditions for gear shifting. If the sensor readings are incorrect, the shifts will also be far from ideal, with inevitable jerks, floating revs, and increased fuel consumption. A completely faulty sensor is monitored by the onboard computer, and the familiar check engine light will come on. The cause may be a broken circuit or a malfunction in the gauge itself. In the latter case, change the sensor for a new one. If the problem does not disappear, look for a break in the wiring. Clutch cable mechanical drive is still found, and on older cars it generally dominates. The cable can be adjusted, tightened, loosened by increasing/decreasing the pedal travel. In particular, if it is strongly stretched, there will be clutch slippage because the driven disc will contact the driving disc loose. Most often the cable is stretched, and if the tension does not help, the only way out is replacement. Sometimes it breaks, and here you can't do without replacement. Electric actuator malfunctions. There are several reasons for the malfunction of the electronic drive. Problems with sensors, and tricked out clutches. In addition to the sensor that monitors the position of the drive pedal, there may be others. Failure of the actuator. Electric motor. Breakage of the clutch system electrical circuit. A tester will be required to locate the fault. Violation of pedal adjustment, e.g., due to natural wear. The most common causes of inoperability are the first and the last. In conclusion, understanding the common malfunctions of a car's clutch and the methods for their elimination is essential for maintaining optimal vehicle performance. By recognizing symptoms such as slipping, difficulty in shifting, or unusual noises, drivers can take proactive steps to address these issues before they escalate. Regular maintenance, timely inspections, and seeking professional assistance when needed can significantly extend the life of your clutch system. Remember, a well-functioning clutch not only enhances your driving experience, but also ensures safety on the road. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.